Hi, this is Monte Tilgner with the Iowa High School Athletic Association. This will be our Week 8 training video with plays from this past week's games. This first play is a really good example of how a pancake block can end up being a hold instead of a legal pancake block. We got to be very careful when blockers take a player to the ground that we don't just think it's automatically a hold. And I think this play does a good job of illustrating that. So we're just going to look through here. So this is the action we're going to be looking at. And um, it starts out right here. Everything is good. Okay, so my comment up there is he's blocking him from the side. If he would just continue to drive him from the side, he may take him down to the ground, pancake him, no foul. If that was the case, this player would probably land on his left shoulder. Now we got to be careful on, oh, this is how he landed, therefore it is or is not a foul. But if he just drove him and continued to drove him and he took him down, that's where he'd probably land. Now I'm going to go forward very slowly, and you'll see that after a few more clicks, the blocker will twist this defender's right shoulder backward, and that's the restriction that makes it a foul. So if he just drives him, that's fine. But as you can see here, what's going to happen is right here, okay, this is where all of a sudden you can see that he has now twisted that right shoulder backward, and this is turning him away from that runner. And this is the restriction that would make this a foul and a hold we would want. So again, just going back a little bit, if he would just continue right here to drive him, we would not have a foul. But when he twists that shoulder, that's the restriction that makes this an offensive hold that we would want called. Okay, formations, we talk a lot about, we really want to make them legal anytime we can. We want to warn them, but there's times when they're just too big. They don't get a warning. So you probably heard the phrase the flying V. Well, this is kind of it, because you can see here these players on the left side are just way too staggered. I mean, there's no way that they're going to be on the line of scrimmage. So if I continue here, it just talks about we've got the three guys to the left of the center are continually more and more staggered, and these two outside guys are not even close. So we know that we have 1, 2, 3 in the backfield right here. This player we know is going to be in the backfield, okay? But the way they are staggered here, this player is also in the backfield. So this is one, this is too big. This is one we need to call without a warning. The crew did, and it brought back a fake for a touchdown. The coaches weren't too happy, but that's the way it goes. If you're gonna, do something that is a fake, you better really make sure you're legal. And they didn't have to, have it staggered that much to be able to complete the pass that they did, but properly called by the crew. Okay, so we got two plays with what we call hands to the face, but the NFHS rule book does not use the terminology illegal hands to the face, but it is a foul, and it's described under rules 233. The blockers may initiate contact with his arm or hand against an opponent, or may not initiate contact with his hand or arm against an opponent above the opponent's shoulders. So that's the similar type of wording that is used for the hands to the face rule in college. But what we look for is what we call pinned and prolonged. So those are the indicators, and we really want pinned and prolonged in order for this to be a foul. If the hands just get up to the face, but then they notice it, they drop them down, they take that hand off the helmet, you can warn them without putting a flag down. But if they pin that head all the way back for a prolonged period of time, it's a foul. Also, what you're going to see here is on the next play more is just a hard jab to the head, and that's what gets the helmet off. And then that's the case. If they pin it back and that helmet comes off as a result, then we also want to foul. So this is the action we're going to be looking at right here. Let's just continue to watch that. You can see we're up there in the head continuously, and it takes that player's helmet off. And that is what we would want for a foul for hands to the face. This player continues a little bit afterwards to participate, probably not enough that we would want to flag him for continuing to participate without a helmet. But this is a proper call for illegal helmet contact, and that is a 15-yard personal foul. All right, so again, another one. If we see this action from the start, and that's an important thing, just because the helmet comes off, we can't flag the player who was blocking that guy. We need to see how that helmet came off. And the coaches are complaining that there's a helmet off and so on. And we don't have a flag down. If we don't see it, we just say, Coach, I didn't see the entire action. I don't know how the helmet come off, so I can't throw on that. But if we do see the whole thing, we would like it to be a foul. And that player does not have to come out of the game for one play if that helmet came off directly due to a foul. That's the key. If they block someone, knock him to the ground, and his helmet comes off when he hits the ground, that is not directly due to a foul, so that player would have to come out of the game. So let's watch this action here. It's going to be, I should circle this guy. Yep, you can see, oops, sorry. You can see our helmet already came off. All right, so let's go in slow motion. It's going to be right here. Now, this one pops off pretty easily. But again, if we see the whole thing, okay, helmet just came off right there. And then these two players kind of continually block each other. All right. But again, if we see that entire action, we would want to put a flag down for illegal helmet contact. Later in this game, I did see this same player's helmet came off when I think he went to the ground, and that thing just popped off in a heartbeat. So it might be a situation where, that guy's got to strap it up a little better. But, if you don't see how the helmet got off, that's one thing to say is, hey, coach, make sure he gets that thing on there, on there secured, and then hopefully we'll be able to see the action next time. It's just a good example of referee for intentional grounding. Referees, you just simply have to stay with the quarterback. Okay. You need to let your crew help you with intentional grounding. So you can see on this play, what we're going to have is our quarterback here is going to go to the ground. And we got two guys on top of our quarterback. And referee, we are looking down to see, well, where's this pass going? Okay, we need to be looking here. Even if it's not a late hit, okay, but there's two guys on top of your quarterback. And what if they start punching him or do a secondary act that would be a foul? You're not going to see it if you're not looking at that quarterback. You solely have eyes on the quarterback, nothing else through this entire action, and you will have crew members who will come into you and say there's no one in the area. Okay, so make sure that we, as referees, stay with our quarterback. There's still just getting off of him, and we're not looking there. So we need to continue with that quarterback and let our crewmates help us with the intentional grounding part. This one would be intentional grounding. There's definitely no receiver in the area there. Okay, that ball hits the ground right there, and our nearest receiver is about 7-8 yards away, not going towards that ball. So remember, 5 yards if they are not moving towards the ball. If they're going towards the ball to try to get there, then they get 7 yards. This would not be close enough. This would be intentional grounding. Remember, that's going to be 5 yards from the spot of the foul and loss of down. In this case, we are at the 4-yard line, let's say. So this is obviously going to be a half the distance penalty. Okay, next one. We want to make things false starts instead of illegal shifts or illegal motions if possible. So if a back, misses a snap count, takes a half a step forward and then stops, that's a false start. In this case, this is a little different, but this is one we would want to make a false start. So we're going to have a back going motion, okay? But then our quarterback is going to start going backward, and this is like our back missing the snap count. And you can tell he's waiting for that ball, and this is one that we want to make that action a false start. We don't want to. It's still a foul if we would go with illegal motion for two players in motion, but we don't want that. We want to start a play clean. So if we have any of these where a player takes a false start or false step, which is simulating the snap, we want to make it a false start and not a motion type foul. So you can see the coaches are wanting something. We didn't have anything. We got to have something. It's either a false start, which is what we want, or illegal motion. So reverse goal line mechanics. So we are at the 5-yard line. Remember, when we are at the 5 or inside, both the H and the L should immediately go to the goal line. And then in the anticipation of, a safety, a player not getting that ball all the way out. And if the play ends up in the field of play, move back to the dead ball spot and square it off. Now, if you're going back to that goal line, like you can see here, we want to go right away. So right now we should be going. Okay, immediately go back. Don't come off the goal line until you're 100% sure that runner could not be hit at or behind the goal line. So let's say we started at the 5 and we're going back. And let's say we're at the 2-yard line at this point right now. Okay, where this runner is, he's going forward at the 3, at the 4. We know now that he's, he can't get hit at the goal line and not have the ball out. So we could now leave where we are at the 2 or so and continue to trail this play. Okay, so just a reminder on goal line mechanics, reverse goal line mechanics. All right, illegal blindside blocks. We're getting a lot better at these, and that's really good to see. But a really good illegal blindside block foul made by the line judge here. I would love the back judge to be on this as well. The player that is going to do the foul here is going to be number 4, and this is our back judge's initial responsibility. So, when he goes back to the inside, which he does, we should see that as a back judge. So right now, as a back judge, when we see this player turn to the inside right here, number 4, we should be on him. That's a brick in the hand. Okay. Our line judge does a great job. What we don't want out of our line of scrimmage officials is to be looking at a runner in space. So our line judge does a great job. He sees number 4 going back inside, and this is our blindside block that's going to occur. There it is. Easy. Definitely forcible from the blind side. Okay. Remember, just because he has his hands out in front of his body does not make this legal. He has his hands in front of his body. This contact is with the chest and the shoulders, and that makes it a foul. In order for it not to be a foul, we need extended hands in front of the body and a push. So we can't just have the hands in front, but we crunch them with the shoulder. So really, really good job and good call by our line judge, and he continues to officiate and then kills the clock at the end of the play. That's exactly what we want. Like I said, I'd love to have the back judge on this one as well. Okay, another blindside block properly called. They happen so much more on these kick plays. So, good positioning. I really like our positioning here by our back judge. You can see this is what we want. We need to have this angle where our eyes are having this angle here to see if someone would get in there or if that player would muff it. So we do have 2 flags on this, which is great as well. Okay, so this is our player. Remember, back judge Right now, this guy is running, so you are not responsible for his progress. You are responsible for blocks, so we do get the call from our back judge and I think from our line judge who's coming up the field. So really nice. There's our call. There's our flags coming out. This was one that was these circles in this were put in by the crew in their self-evaluation, and I found that. So nice job. There's our flag by our line judge, and we already have a flag coming out from our back judge. So we get the flag, and then as a line judge, we continue to officiate. Great job. Our referee does a nice job of getting to that goal line. Didn't have very far to go, but nice job of being there. And you can see, I believe he gives a peek, if I remember right. So we want to peek at that line of scrimmage official since we've got a guy running tight down that sideline. But if he was out of bounds, we also would hear whistles and we would see our line judge coming down the sideline, killing the clock as he's doing so if that player had stepped out of bounds. So really good call. Great to have two flags on it. Okay, so we've talked about this before, but this is properly ruled an incomplete forward pass. Very nice work by the crew. This is the little pitch that that ball is pitched forward on the jet sweep. Here he comes. All right, and then we get the bobble, and the ball hits the ground. Okay, so if there's any air under the ball, right there, we have a release by our quarterback, and it's not a handoff. Therefore, this is a forward pass. This ball then is bobbled, goes to the ground, and we get whistles, and you can see we get everyone stopped. Might not be bad to get on the field mic and just say we had an incomplete forward pass. The ball was pitched forward, so it's an incomplete forward pass. We actually had that announcement in our game this past weekend on one that was recovered by the defense, and everyone was going nuts thinking that the defense had the ball. And the referee just got on the mic and said, the ball was tossed up in the air, incomplete forward pass. And then everyone understood what was going on. Okay, I think this is our last play maybe, but in NFHS rules, what can the holder do? Remember, if he's got a knee on the ground or knees, he may rise to catch an errant snap and immediately return to his knees, where then he can rise to advance, hand, kick, or pass. Or, as my second part says, if he's on a knee, he may rise to advance, hand off, kick, or pass the ball. He cannot be on a knee and hand the ball to someone, or be on a knee and pass the ball forward or backward to somebody. In college, you can. In high school, you cannot. Very important we understand that rule difference. All right, so what we're going to see here is we are going to see this this holder get the ball on a knee. He's going to rise, and then he's going to throw a pass. Okay, this was flagged by the crew. There was just, here's the thing. Our referee was thinking this was a foul, so we flagged it. That's okay. We can talk about it. But what we didn't do as a crew in this situation is we didn't have somebody on the crew. It could be anybody. When the referee makes the announcement, which he would have to say is, why this is a foul for the holder coming off the ground with the ball. We would need to say that to the crew, and then someone on the crew just has to say, well, he can rise up. He can't hand the ball off. He can't pitch it from or pass it from a knee, but he can come up. The crew realized it later, but this is something where if as a crewmate, if you think something is wrong, you got to just bring it up. Don't wait till the locker room. Don't wait till the car ride home. Just bring it up on the field, whatever your question is, so we can talk about it and make sure that we get it right. Okay, no, that was not the last play. So remember, the ball is dead as soon as the helmet comes off a runner. We need a quick whistle. As soon as that helmet comes off the runner, whistles, hammer on those babies. Make sure they're loud and keep hammering on the whistles to avoid that player getting hit after his helmet is off. So you're going to see our quarterback is going to be our runner here. And there the helmet comes off. and we have a player who comes in and gets a little hit on that quarterback, and I can't tell you it should have been flagged or what, because I don't know what was going on with the whistles. This wasn't the helmet wasn't off very long, so they might have just right now recognized it and started on the whistles, and this guy already committed to this contact. So in that case, we just warn them. But if it would be delayed, if there'd be enough time in between, then it would be one where we would want to flag that hit against that player who lost his helmet. But it's not an automatic one because we need to see what that time frame is. So just be aware that when the helmet comes off the runner, it's an automatic dead ball at that spot. If the helmet comes off any other player, it is not a dead ball at that spot. We do not blow our whistles to kill the play, but that player cannot continue to participate without the helmet. And if he does, that is a 15-yard penalty. So that's our training tape for this week. Continue working hard. This is our last week of regular season for our top, I think, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A classes, and then everyone will be in playoffs this next week. So finish strong. Good luck and congratulations to those who will be working the playoffs. We'll continue with our training videos, and we will talk to you again next week.